She Dwelt Among the Untrodden Ways by William Wordsworth. Poets biology William Wordsworth, 1770 to 1850, was a major English Romantic poet, known for his love of nature and his ability to capture deep emotions through simple yet profound language. He was a Poet Laureate of England from 1843 until his death in 1850. Wordsworth's poetry often celebrated the beauty of the natural world and the human connection to it. General meaning and theme. General meaning of She Dwelt Among the Untrodden Ways. This poem is an elegy for Lucy, a young woman who lived a quiet and unremarkable life, unnoticed by many. Wordsworth reflects on her beauty and purity, comparing her to a violet by a mossy stone and a star. Her death leaves a deep emotional void for the speaker. Themes: nature and its connection to human emotions, solitude and obscurity, grief and loss, the fleeting beauty of life. Detailed meaning: 3 quatrains, 3 stanzas which each has 4 lines. She dwelt among the untrodden ways. She lived in the place that is remote and not have much people visit very often. Beside the springs of Dove may be referred to a river. In the Wordsworth poetry, rivers and roads often act as metaphors for journeys in life. This Dove River likely refers to the river where he grew up, specifically the Midlands, a rural area south of Manchester. Number sign metaphor to countryside, that she lived. The poet shows how beautiful nature and countryside with dove, white birds of peace, a maid whom there were none to praise and very few to love. A maid, either unmarried or young woman or both. Because the place she lived was far away from people, a maid who lived there had nobody knew her, said good things about her, and loved her. It's a technique to draw reader into this poem, a violet by a mossy stone half hidden from the eye. Metaphor. The poet implies that, like a small flower obscured from view by a mossy rock, the maiden also went unnoticed. She was half hidden from the eye of the public, suggesting that she was very alone, despite her beauty and purity. It was easy to overlook her, like a diamond in the rough. Fair as a star, when only one is shining in the sky. Simile, she was likely a star, beautiful as it. He compared her and only one star in the sky to her being. When looking up into the sky, he would see the only one beautiful star shining. Similarly, even she was alone and lonely. She was only one that is shining among the loneliness. Star Venus, the star that most shine in the sky when dusk and dawn, it is described to morning star and evening star. She lived unknown, and few could know when Lucy ceased to be. Because where she lived was so out of the way, so it was difficult for anybody to know her. Therefore, few people noticed when this woman, whose name was Lucy, died. But she is in her grave, and oh, the difference to me. He suddenly used the present tense with the mention of her grave, brings the speaker to confide in the reader that while Lucy may not have mattered to others, she mattered to him. The difference of her being gone now brings him to despair. Despair, the complete loss of hope. Poet's intention. William Wordsworth wrote this poem to celebrate the beauty and value of ordinary people who are often overlooked by society, particularly rural women living simple lives, yet holding deep emotional significance to those who know them. The poet highlights how her loss profoundly impacts the narrator, even though she was not widely known.
Group reflection. This poem is deeply admired for its portrayal of beauty, sensitivity, and the calm, delicate perspective it offers on life. It highlights the serenity of hidden beauty in peaceful natural settings and evokes empathy for those who are unrecognized or unloved. The comparison of Lucy to a violet and a solitary star emphasizes her unique, quiet beauty and inspires appreciation for the unnoticed. Through its depiction of loss and the profound sorrow of parting with someone significant, the poem resonates with universal emotions, leaving a lasting impression of both romance and grief. Responding to exercises. 1. What do you learn about Lucy? She was isolated. She dwelt among untrodden ways. Line 1, unnoticed by most. A maid whom there were none to praise, and very few to love. Lines 3 to 4. Quiet, natural beauty. A violet by a mossy stone. Line 5. Memorable and treasured by the poet. The difference to me. Line 12. 2. What is Lucy compared to? The poet compares her to a hidden violet, a lone star. Lines 5 to 8, second stanza. A violet by a mossy stone, half hidden from the eye. Fair as a star, when only one is shining in the sky. 3. What does it mean when the poet says, fair as a star, when only one is shining in the sky? Lucy is fair or lovely because she is separated and hence special, just like the star, which is likely a reference to the goddess who stands for beauty and love. She glows when no one else can, indicating a remarkable ability. And she continued, shining, even as she remained unrecognized. 4. What is the figurative used in 2? The poet uses metaphor in lines 5 to 6, a violet by a mossy stone, half hidden from the eye. And he uses simile in lines 7 to 8, fair as a star when only one is shining in the sky. 5. How does the poet feel toward Lucy? The poet feels a deep sense of affection, admiration toward Lucy, in lines 7 to 8. Fair as a star, when only one is shining in the sky. Lucy is described as uniquely beautiful, standing out in a pure and quiet way, which evokes admiration. The poet admires her quiet beauty, feels sympathy for her isolation in a maid whom there were none to praise and very few to love, and mourns her loss profoundly in, but she is in her grave and oh, the difference to me. 6. Why does the poet say, but she is in her grave and oh, the difference to me? What type of figurative language used here? What effects does it make? But she is in her grave, and oh, shows Lucy's death expressed with great sadness. The poet is expressing deep personal grief and the emotional void left by Lucy's death. The phrase, the difference to me, conveys how significant her absence is to the speaker. While Lucy may have been unnoticed by most of the world, her death has left an irreplaceable gap in the poet's life. For the figurative language, the poet used understatement through difference in last line and establishes a dramatic ending for the poem. It shows the emotional impact of Lucy's death to the poet. It's not just a loss in a factual sense, it's an emotional wound for the poet,